Gamer Vibe World is back and we're taking a look at the new Bayonetta Origins game on the Switch.
Now, after Bayonetta 3's ending, fans didn't know what was going to happen with Bayonetta, so this was the answer that Platinum Games came up with, and they've partnered with Nintendo for a truly magical experience.
Oh, let's check out the review.
So why is this lovely young witch and her plushy cat in the spooky forbidden Avalon forest? Well, Cereza is trying to find a way to get strong enough to save her Umbran witch mummy, who has been imprisoned for having a forbidden love affair with the Lumen Sage, Cereza's daddy. She's told in a dream that the power to free her beloved mummy is somewhere in the Avalon forest, and off Cereza goes, immediately finding herself in trouble, as one does when going off on an adventure. During a botched attempt to summon an infernal demon, she instead sends the demon into her stuffed cat, Cheshire. And now you as the player get into the bulk of the mechanics of this new Bayonetta title. Unlike the melee combos and the R-rated maneuvers of grown Bayonetta, little Cereza mainly uses magic to bind enemies, while Cheshire does all the attacks. You pull this off with the L stick, which controls Bayonetta, and the R stick, which moves Cheshire. In other words, you're moving both joysticks in order to control the two separate characters at the same time. How's your hand-eye coordination? Because this game will definitely put it to the test. The game starts you off simply. Cheshire can switch between Hug Mode, his toy form that allows Bayonetta to use him to jump across gaps or throw him to unreachable platforms, and Unleashed Mode, his Hulk Smash enemies and barriers form. Gameplay can become hectic if the two are on opposite sides of the screen, and in the heat of battle you forget which stick controls who. But don't panic, as combat isn't that hard. As the game progresses, you get elemental powers, each with their own special attacks and moves for on and off the battlefield. Outside of combat, Bayonetta is exploring the Avalon forest, using Cheshire in his various forms to overcome puzzles and completing mini-dungeons in Tir na Nog, which are similar to the challenge stages of Alfheim and Niflheim from the previous Bayonetta games. You'll also be on the hunt for roses, pearls, crystals, and inferno fruit, the materials needed to level up Bayonetta and Cheshire. On the skill tree, Bayonetta gets more support type powers, and Cheshire gets more vitality and different combat moves. The game looks phenomenal on the Switch, but get out the HDMI because it's even better on a big screen. The adventure of young Bayonetta being portrayed in this isometric Okami art style makes for a truly magical storybook version of The Legend of Zelda mixed with Alice in Wonderland. There are many different ways to interact with this forest and lots of puzzles similar to Legend of Zelda to get you on the next stage or finding a chest with the good goodies inside. The Avalon Forest is a fantastic setting for this game, and it comes alive with scurrying creatures, rustling leaves, and phenomenal background sounds and music. You're swept into this dangerous fairy tale world with every melody in this game. There are spooky and mystical tunes when new characters are introduced, and Final Fantasy big battle orchestra ballads for boss fights and key moments in the story. I loved this cutesy storybook telling of Bayonetta. Being able to peek inside the vulnerable insecurity of this iconic femme fatale adds more depth to a character that I already love. The story is told by a narrator, just like a storybook with page-turning animations, and the same narrator does the voice of Cheshire, which is adorable and charming and funny. The game also has lots of unique game mechanics, like balancing the two joysticks at the same time for combat and puzzle solving. The more moves you unlock and elemental powers you collect, the more strategies you can utilize and the more puzzle areas you can unlock. And if Cheshire's vitality gauge goes to 0, Bayonetta has to hug him in toy form in order to restore it. The game was almost a perfect 10 for me, but to give an honest review, I wasn't too pleased that the dual stick movement didn't evolve further, and there were a few repetitive moments that could make the game feel like it's dragging. The $60 price tag for 15 hours of gameplay might throw some gamers off, but as a fan of Bayonetta, I just couldn't help myself. I will always love the high-octane, stylish action of the previous Bayonetta games, But this one, with its childish storybook charm, gave me a different type of Bayonetta experience that was worth every dollar. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon is available now and with a free 1-hour demo, so you can try before you buy.
Honestly, I think that it is a brilliant idea to take a little backseat and give us a little bit of the origin story of Bayonetta, our favorite gal pal, with the sexy.
This is kind of like if Devil May Cry.
I was thinking that.
If Devil May Cry went on Nintendo and it became Legend of Zelda, so you get that feeling where Dante is now Link. Well, Bayonetta is now Cereza, and this is the story.
Yeah, I mean, when you take your character all the way to the top, when we've reached the summit of the mountain, what else is there to do?
Origin stories.
Backstory.
Origin stories.
Story.
Everybody's
Exactly.
doing it. But tell us, guys, what do you think of this new Bayonetta in the comments? It will be so interesting to see the different takes on this game, from the hardcore fans who are like, no, I need to see her, you know, to the new fans who are like, you know what, I needed this little depth of character, I needed this little story time. I'm happy for it.
I'm personally a little on the fence, but I appreciate a good origin story.
Yeah.
And I like the direction that it's actually going. So I'm getting off the fence, and yeah, I like it. I like it. It looks good. It looks promising.